Welcome. My name is Patrick Gann. I am a program manager in Office focusing on collaboration experiences. And co-presenting with me today is my coworker.
I'm Paras. I'm also a program manager on the Office collaboration.
So today we are here to talk to you about collaboration. And to many of you, Office is probably not the first thing that comes to mind when you think about collaboration. So we hope that after this talk, you'll come away rethinking your image of Office. And to that end, hopefully you'll learn a little bit more about the features within Office that we've added that help support successful teamwork and collaboration. So we're not going to lecture about collaboration with you today. We're probably going to do a little bit of talking, set the stage for collaboration, but then we're going to go into live demos. So keep your fingers crossed for us that everything works. And so we'll be showing you features that are going to be released to our Office 365 subscription channel. Some of these features are already been released. Some of them are going to be coming soon. And so let's talk a little bit about our... So our agenda for today is that we will set the stage, do some demos for you. We'll have some takeaways for you to bring back when you go after Ignite, and then we want to set up some time for Q&A. And if we don't get to your questions while we're here, Paris and I and members of the team will be on the expo floor at the Office Apps booth. So definitely come find us if we don't get to your questions. So on with the talk. So as everyone probably has noticed, the workplace is changing. When we look around in our own organization, we are witnessing a fundamental shift in how people work. But this shift is not just limited to Microsoft. I'm sure you're seeing it within your own organizations as well, often driven by the influx of new talent that is joining companies today. We've also heard this from countless attendees stopping by the booth, talking about a cultural change they are seeing within their own organizations. And oftentimes they're the ones who are having to drive this change. The shift we are observing has many aspects. We are seeing a change from existing work habits, where staff and employees move from a fixed mindset, where work happens in silos at their desks, where we receive information from our managers only and rigorously work towards meeting timelines. We're seeing a shift more towards something we are calling the modern work style. Our colleagues are increasingly tapping into the rich expertise of their peer networks to collaboratively work towards outcomes. And this happens no matter where we are. Collaboration is a centerpiece of this modern work style. Is there a single definition for collaboration? Definitely not. What we are seeing is that collaboration takes many forms during the course of a project. How we collaborate, our choices, and our needs are greatly influenced by context, what stage we are in the project. For example, when we're constructing this talk, Paris and I worked closely together to come up with the concepts we wanted to talk about. We then divided the tasks up, worked on them separately, but then we kept coming together when we needed feedback from each other. And then finally, we reviewed the talk and shared it out with our peers and leadership. Just as a collaborative journey for the talk evolved during the course of the project, a successful team also evolves. Teams are not fixed. We may add new members at any time for their specific expertise or dynamically change ownership based on skill. Our roles may require us to be remote at times or work with colleagues across the globe. Indeed, for this talk, Paris and I are located across opposite ends of the country. I'm based in Boston and Paris is based in Redmond. We'll sometimes work with one member, sometimes with 20 people. And just when we think we made enough progress, we sometimes get blocked and need to pull in help from other colleagues. Or sometimes we need to come up with new ideas and get feedback that needs to be incorporated into the project. All the while, the deliverable itself transforms during the collaborative journey, going from being a small list of ideas to a private draft to something that we share for review with a much wider audience. So what does this mean for document collaboration? Collab is a part of the modern workplace. We're always starting new projects. We're working with one team right now and a new set of colleagues an hour later. It's critical with these constant shifts that we get up and running in seconds, always with the necessary tools at our fingertips. Work happens together. As a team, we need to deliver one outcome. We often need to work on one document at the same time with our team members and build on top of each other's ideas. Staying on top of these projects is absolutely vital. We need to pick up on changes immediately and quickly get up to speed on what has happened in the document. And we also need to find out what we need to contribute to that document to keep the project going. Then we need to be able to pass that baton on to other team members as soon as we need to pull their expertise in. Flexibility is absolutely critical in collaboration. Nothing stops us, whether we're 2 feet away or 2 time zones away, running for a flight to meet up with colleagues. We work with the team from anywhere, anytime, and the collaboration tools need to work with us. So into this new modern way of working comes Microsoft 365, which is the universal toolkit for teamwork. Microsoft 365 meets the diverse needs of teams with an integrated solution that is secure. We designed Microsoft 365 to meet the unique needs of every group. And for each of the categories of teamwork, Microsoft 365 includes a purpose-built application. And for this talk and demos, we're going to be focusing on the Office apps, enabling co-authoring and collaboration in familiar apps like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So now I'm going to turn over to Paris to go through the fun part of the talk, and keep your fingers crossed that the demos go according to plan.
Can you switch the screen?
Yep.
Okay, so as we just saw, enabling your organization to do more things collaboratively requires you to meet a spectrum of needs. Let's see how you can do that with Office. We're going to show you some things that have been around in Office and are really helpful for collaboration, but we are also showing you some new cool updates that are coming that will help you go back and encourage your employees to work more collaboratively. So I'm going to walk you through the day in the life of Nestor. I think there's a slight echo. Let me just adjust my mic. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through a day in the life of Nestor, who's our colleague, someone who sits next to us, someone we meet in the hallways, somebody who has an upcoming exec checkpoint like many of us. So it's a busy week, and the first thing he needs to do is pull together his quarterly numbers. So he's smart enough, he's copied last quarter's reviews, Excel sheet, into a new document on team side. The first thing he needs to do to get going is share this with his team. So when I hit share, this brings up the new simplified sharing experience in Office. We call this simplified because it works exactly the way your users want to work when they share. Most of the times, they just want to grab a link, and they can do this using copy link. Sometimes somebody just asks them for a link to the document, and what they want to do is send it their way. So I'm just going to add, let's add somebody else. Overspelled his name. So I'm going to add Pradeep, I'm going to add Patty, and I'm going to add, let's say, Miriam. But what's great about the simplified sharing experience is that we all know sharing is like handing out keys to your treasured data. So we really want employees to be super intentional about who they're sharing it with. Links can go along really fast, which is why through the easy drop-down, you can manage the exposure for the link. You probably don't want to send your quarterly results to everyone. You may choose to send it to only people in your organization. There are options to share it only with specific people or people who have access already, in case you're not really sure. For links that you send to everyone, there are also great options like being able to set link expiry so that we all sleep well at night. This is important because sharing needs to strike a balance. You want your users to share more, but you also want your data to be secure. And we think that with a simplified sharing experience, you can help your users get this right every single time. So now that I've shared this document, I'm going to say apply to this permission and send it right away. So the Excel sheet is out. Let's see what my colleagues do. So I'm going to switch over to my colleague Patty's screen. Now Patty, like many of us, or many of our colleagues, prefers a Mac. And it's something that we hear often around certain employees' choice of Mac. With the new Office, it doesn't matter. You get the same experience everywhere. For example, I can quickly navigate to the Shared With Me view in addition to the recent documents. The Shared With Me view is great because it brings all your shared documents at your fingertips, whether they've been shared with you as a link or as a modern attachment. You no longer need to go find that email with that link that person sent probably a month ago. It's little things like these that make collaboration the default way people want to work in your company. So just like the document I shared, it's already up here. I'm going to click on it and open this Excel sheet. Oh, I think I have the wrong one. Give me a second. I'm just going to close this. I think I opened the wrong sheet. It's this one. Oh, okay. So I wanted to show you our latest amazing new feature around being able to co-author an Office, which is right now in the works for Mac. Let's see if I can get this using another sheet. I'm just going to simply use Excel Online for now, while that's sorted. Have you guys seen our new Office.com experience? Uh-oh, snafu. I think I'm just going to proceed along.
Okay.
But I can show you, but what I wanted to share with you guys is we're working on the final piece of the puzzle. Co-authoring is now coming to all of the Excel client applications, and not just the Win32 machine or Excel Online. It's coming to the Mac. It's already available in iOS and Android. Imagine the power of being able to use Excel with its rich functionality, its rich analysis tools together collaboratively. That is now a reality. The experience is first class, where you can see your co-authors. Oh, I have it working on this side. Let me just switch over to, you want to switch over to Windows screen so I can show everyone? Yep. Oh. So as you can see, my colleague Patty, who just opened a document, is now showing up. And as she makes, I can quickly jump to her location. As she makes changes, I'm going to see this in real time, because both the Macs and the Win32 applications are now going to support autosave. Let's switch over from Excel to Word. Just like in Excel, I'm working on this document with my teammate Pradeep, who's showing up there. He and I are collaborating in real time. Let me try, as Pradeep moves along, I can see his cursor, and I can even see his edits come in real time. This is the beauty of being able to work on the same cloud document together. We are always working on one single document. With Pradeep editing, I also noticed comments. Now, comments are a great way to collaborate in Office. We're not always in the same document at the same time. Sometimes we're picking up the kids while our colleagues are making progress. Sometimes we're on the train while they're working. Comments are a great way to bridge the gap and pass on that question, that action item to your colleague. Like my friend Pradeep here, who's asking me to follow up with AccuNext. But just like healthy confusion in every project, I don't really own this. So, oh, do you sign out? You got signed out over here, so just give me a second. I'll bring Pradeep back in. Okay. So I've just opened Pradeep's screen from the online apps, so that we're back to collaborating together. And what I can now do is, okay, so here Pradeep is. Now, as I was saying, there's some confusion between me and him. And what I can do now to resolve this confusion with some of the new updates that we're working on is you can now talk to Pradeep in the document. It's not just Pradeep. Anybody who's collaborating or co-authoring with you right now, you can talk to them while you're editing the document. Conversations are now a part of working together in Office. We need to share that cool new idea we just thought of, or sometimes it's a question that we really need to get unblocked on as we make progress. So I'm going to say, I'm not following up on AccuNext, Miriam is. And it goes right to my colleague, who's going to reply back saying, can you follow up with her? Can you follow up with her? And Pradeep's editing from Word Online, which means that this experience is already working across all our platforms, just like we spoke about for Excel. Now that I have this sorted out, I need to actually follow up with Miriam. So I can reply to this comment, but rather than simply leave a comment, I can now do this. I can @mention Miriam so that she knows I want to speak specifically to her. I'm going to say, can you follow up? And @mentions are great. It's the way we talk to people on our social and productivity apps. So what's great about @mentions is that when I switch over to Miriam's phone here, do you want to switch the screen? By the time I was talking to you, it's already created a real-time notification. When I click on this notification, it's going to take her straight into the document, to the comment that I just left her, and she can quickly reply on the go. I'm going to say, sure. It's things like these that help your employees be productive on the go. But as I bring down the comments pane, let me show you something else. You can also see Nestor and Pradeep editing here in real time. That's because we brought our real-time collaboration experience to all the mobile apps. This has been one of the key asks from a lot of our organizations, where a lot of the workforce is mobile, and the phone is the productivity tool of their choice. Having a great collaboration experience on the mobile apps helps these users participate in collaboration as effectively as somebody who's sitting at their desk. Now, I'm going to move on from Word to PowerPoint to show you something that we all leave for the last, which is the deck. So I'm going to open up this document from my most recent documents. And it shows me here that Pradeep is editing the document with me now, which is great. But what I also see is that while I was away, Miriam has been hard at work making changes. She was the one in charge of the outline, putting the outline together, and she's been making changes to the document. Not only do I get the toast, I actually get the accurate revision highlights of all the changes that we've made. For example, this is a slide with unread changes. I can clearly see that Miriam modified this 47 minutes ago. It's things like these that when we come back from that bus ride and jump back into the document, within seconds, we are up and ready to start making progress again. Now, to show you the true power of collaboration in Office, I'm going to actually work on this deck together with you right now. So I'm going to bring this PowerPoint Win32 app to one side, and then I'm going to open a new instance of PowerPoint Online on this side so that I can show you how working together in PowerPoint can be like. Okay, so as you can see, Nestor's editing here. I have that going, and then I can see Pradeep here. So I'm going to jump to the second slide from Pradeep's machine. And quarterly results, let me just start with some text. I'm going to say revenue was up by 3%. And as you see, the text has flowed in real time. But that's old news, right? Let's try something more ambitious. So I'm going to go to the next slide, which is about Q4 projections. Sounds like a great place to add a chart. So let me add one right away. So I'm going to go to illustrations. I'm going to say insert new chart. And as this chart is added on my side, it shows up on Pradeep's screen within a few seconds. Let's jump on to the next slide. The 3 pillars of our strategy. Sounds like a great place to add smart art. So I'm going to go insert and add a great new smart art here. So process. And again, like the chart, the smart art shows up in seconds. As I said when we were talking about Word, this is really the beauty of working together, when we are all looking at one single document to contribute to one single outcome. Let me do something even more ambitious. Let's take it up one more notch. Let me change the theme of this presentation. And as this theme got applied on one side, it's already on the other side. Pretty sure half of you expected 5 conflicts right now. It's a dialogue we're all familiar with, but that's all in the past. The collaboration experience is great. I'm now going to jump in on the final side, and I'm going to insert a few pictures of the new cameras that we're launching next year. So let me select these camera images. And what's great about adding images in PowerPoint is that PowerPoint automatically suggests great design ideas. It's one of our coolest new intelligence features that helps you get up and running and quickly. And you can see the design ideas speak for themselves. So I like this one the most, so I'm going to apply it to this one. And boom, it's already on the other slide. This is how you can leverage Office intelligently in a collaborative session. So this is how you can take your organization to the next level by leveraging Office apps for collaboration. Can you switch to the slides? Office collaboration works because we are striving to address the 3 needs. We want users to get up and running quickly, which means being able to share easily, having things like your shared documents at your fingertips, and even things like having your team sites and groups accessible from our Office apps. We are also aiming to make the experience of working together on a document at the same time great, whether it's seeing your changes in real time like you saw for Word and PowerPoint, whether it's seeing the people as they move around so that you don't stomp on their changes, or it's the ability to have great conversations while you're making those edits. And with this, you have full control at all times with the ability to go back to an old version or even simple things like undo. You don't have to give up on any of that. Finally, to make sure that you're always on top of a document, you can do things like get up to speed really quickly, as you saw with while you were away, and change highlights, but we really help you pass the baton and help your colleagues be on top through comments, through the ability to have notifications, and through the ability to mention people. And across these different needs is the Office promise of flexibility. flexibility to choose the platform that you want, flexibility to be productive on the go, and if you're syncing files to be productive on the go, on the 4-hour flight, those changes are going to make it to that file when you're back online. So how can we help you make the most out of Office for your users? We want to leave you with some quick takeaways. Firstly, we encourage you to get the latest Office client version. We are releasing updates all the time, as frequent as monthly. You can get your hands on all the updates that you saw today, hot off the press, if you're subscribed to our latest updates. For example, Excel Co-auth on Win32 is already a part of our monthly updates. The second thing that we encourage you to do is to get your users to sign in. Signing in helps us bring all the rich collaboration insights around shared with me, notifications to your users at their fingertips when they sign in. Thirdly, we would encourage you to have your users store their documents on SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business, which is really easy. Every Outlook group has a team site. Every Microsoft Teams has a new team site. And when your employees work together in Teams or Outlook groups, they have a place to put their documents automatically. Having your documents at these places helps us put the power of Microsoft Cloud behind these great collaboration capabilities. And finally, it's always a good idea to get the latest mobile apps to be productive on the go and sync your files to be productive on that 4-hour flight back from Orlando. And with that, I want to open up the floor for Q&A and invite our friend Jackie over on stage. Yeah.
Come to the mic.
Is there any portal that a user can go and see all the app mentions that reference them, or do they just get the one-time notification?
So they will definitely, if you go to office.com, which is where all Office users start their day, there's a notification center where you will see all your at mentions that you've accumulated over these past hours. The notifications will also stick around on the mobile apps. But I would, for what you're looking for, I would strongly recommend going to office.com and popping up the notification center.
Okay, but there's no integration of Outlook or Teams to say that I have at mention, so it doesn't email me as a user, or it doesn't send anything to
Oh, it will send you an email on Outlook as well as the notification. So we just showed you a notification for the end-to-end experience, but you will have an email also in your inbox every time you get at mention, and you can also switch around those settings.
If you can go to the mic, so they can hear you.
It's great to see all the real-time co-authoring stuff coming, and you mentioned it doesn't matter which platform you're on. We have a high proportion of Mac users, and that's the theory, but we always find we're way behind in terms of the releases. So when is co-authoring coming to the desktop apps for the Mac platform?
So real-time collaboration, our goal is to get real-time collaboration on all the Mac apps by end of the year. That's
Right.
what we're targeting, and you should see those updates out soon. They're shaping up, as you see, some of the experiences that I showed you around revision tracking, Whoppa are already on the Mac. So we're working on them, and they should be in your hands by end of the year.
And is that the same for the chat stuff as well?
Yes. So as I said, everything that we're working on, the intent is to make sure that you have the same experience everywhere. So for the Mac, we're aiming end of the year as is the time when you will get a lot of these updates coming through.
Great, thanks.
Andrea Dawson, Pew Charitable Trust. My question is about the at mentions. You all showed it in Word, and I'm just curious if that same capability will be accessible in Excel, because that's more of what our people
Yeah, our target is to make sure that the experience is the same across all of the core Word, PowerPoint, and Excel apps. The whole feature itself will probably land sometime early next year, but the intent is not to have it just in Word, but in PowerPoint and Excel. So,
Thank you.
any other questions?
So for the chat feature, are you using Teams behind the scene, or because, I mean, if I'm using Microsoft Teams, would I see the chat in there?
Not right now. So we are using Skype back chat, but as everyone has heard, there is going to be a transition to Teams and such. So that's something that's in process. But we're, again, we want to make it seamless.
That's the intention, yeah.
Yeah.
So you would move to Teams.
Yep.
The chat conversation that popped up in Word, is that conversation going to be inserted into the comments in Word at any point?
Not currently. Nope.
I think you and I close to each other. Go ahead.
No, not currently. It's not part of the conversation. Not part of the document. It's part of a conversation that is Skype back.
Separate conversation.
Yep. Yep.
Hi. I was wondering, could you go back to when you shared out that document? What I've noticed is sharing has changed several times in the last couple of years in how users share documents. And you had shared that document out with 3 specific users. But then you went up and you said, anyone in this organization. Well, is it anyone in the organization that can see it, or just those 3 specific users? Or are they the only ones getting the link? How does that work? Because I think there's some confusion.
Right, so the drop-down is actually the exposure of the link. And what I did is send them to 3 specific people. They can share it forward, and creating links like that can help with those kind of things, where if that's a link to sign up for a volunteer sheet, you want that to be passed around. So you probably want a link which is across your organization or anyone. So those options are for setting the exposure to the link.
Okay.
The other thing about sharing changing a few times, one of the great things about this new sharing experience is that this is going to be the share experience across Microsoft Office. Whether you're using SharePoint Web UI or OneDrive Web UI, you're using the Office apps. If you're syncing files and you right-click, you're going to get the same share experience. So this is going to work exactly like this across the board, and we have new stuff coming there all the time.
And for sharing with external users, do you still have to add that user's domain into the portal as being acceptable to share with? So if I share with somebody with a google.com address, for example, I have to go into the Office 365 portal and share specifically with users at google.com? So
currently, so that is something that we are trying to work to rectify, because external sharing is something that we've heard a lot from customers. And so we're working very closely with the SharePoint and OneDrive teams to enable external sharing, but right now you have to actually add them to the list. But again, it's feedback that we've heard from a lot of folks that external sharing is very important, and it's something that both our team and the SharePoint team are working on.
And you mentioned you can expire a sharing link?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I actually have a 2-part question. It kind of goes on to that too. I use the sharing feature a lot, and I use the share with me section. Is there going to be a shared with others section so you can see everything that you shared in one view? And also, is there a way to unshare everything that you want in a bulk manner?
For the shared with others, I think there's a view that you have in your SharePoint and OneDrive Web UI where you can see things that you've shared with other users. The feature that you saw on the Office apps is more about towards getting into the document that others have just shared for you, and like easing the pain around going and finding that document in email and other places, and on Skype where people share these links out with you. So that's not currently in the documents that you shared with aren't a part of the Office apps right now. I'm not 100% sure. I can definitely check with a few folks on OneDrive on the shared with others view in their UI that you can quickly get to. If you can meet us at the Expo booth, I can definitely get you a good answer for that.
Another sharing question. I noticed that at least in our tenant, when people share files using links, those files will not show up in the shared with me section.
Yep.
Is that by design, and can you talk a little bit about that?
So, when they're sharing them, are they pasting them into an email, or how are they sending out those links?
Usually by emails, and then once you share it with somebody using an email link or others, they'll forward it on to other people.
Okay.
So those won't show up in your shared with me.
So actually, that's one of the features I own, and that is something that we are working on to expose those kinds of links that are sent by email. It's a little bit complicated to try and pull those in from Exchange into the Office apps, but that is something that we are working on. So it's something that'll be in the future very soon.
One of the things that our users really kind of wanted was a lot of links get shared, but if I click on something, at least that should be in my, something that comes up in my shared with me.
Right. Well, actually, if you click on that link and you open it, it will show in your recent documents list, right? So, thank you.
Hi. So the company where I'm employed at, we're just now starting to roll out all of the Office 365 tools. This sharing feature, is there like a best practice for when to use OneDrive and SharePoint? Is there any tips on that?
So I think it's usually about the kind of document that you're setting up. If it's something that's a very team document, you want everybody to have access to. You want no holds barred collaboration on it. We strongly recommend putting that on your team side. The OneDrive is usually something that you can use for the documents that you're working on, or you want to keep private for some time. For example, a lot of our users start drafts in OneDrive for Business, and they probably share it with one or two more users to get some feedback before the document is ready. So OneDrive for Business can be a great place for documents like that. But team sites are always a great, like if you want to work with a lot of people and it's content that you expect to be shared broadly, team sites are always the way to go.
You mentioned link expiry twice. Is that something that's currently managed in your SharePoint site? Is there any intention down the road to actually have it accessible at the time of creation by the user? So when you created a document, you were able to modify perms up there.
Yep.
Are you able to create an expiration right there? Or?
Right.
I didn't see it in the.
So that's because the document that I just shared. Can you switch over to my screen? So it pops up when you're creating links of the type, let's say, shared with anyone, which right now my administrator for this tenant has disabled. I get the additional option here to set link expiry. So if I had that on, I would be able to show to you. We have it working on the demo booths on other tenants, and I can definitely show you there.
So you can't expire links that you send out to people in your organization, though? It's just for anyone?
Right. It currently shows up when the option is available when you select anyone.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just on the sharing emails, so internally our security team run phishing campaigns, so all of our users are very paranoid about clicking any link from something that looks a bit fake. Are there any plans for like customization of the sharing email, the sender address, the content that's in there?
Okay, so the question that you're asking is like, is there a way to customize that email that's being sent out and such? So that's something that our team, like, it is being generated by the SharePoint site. So that is something that our team is looking. It's a request that we've gotten, and we're working with the SharePoint team on trying to customize those and change. But again, it's a feature that is a joint.
But there's definitely, with the share dialogue, we're also showing improvements in the new message that you get. It's much more clearer. Doesn't feel like a robot sent it. So you should see that it's the redesigned UI is much more familiar, where you can easily spot that the link has actually been shared by some real person on the other end.
Just one point on that. So Outlook already is doing the domain checks to say, let's say, the one demo that I showed yesterday, there was a person's name, satyanadella@gmail.com, who sent a mail asking for the revenue numbers for Microsoft. Now, the moment you send such mails like that, Outlook will immediately prompt you saying that this person has never sent you an email before. It sounds similar to another person of your organization, so you might want to check into the email address there. So that's an Outlook-specific feature, so that whenever someone sends out exactly same mail, but it's actually coming from some other domain or some other email address, it will actually warn you.
Yeah, we've seen scare phishing and phishing attacks that are very targeted, and they're using O365 email templates.
Yeah, and Outlook is working behind the scenes for those, like especially because it knows the domain to actually verify. If it's not within your organization, it will definitely warn you with those.
The question is, how does this work with digital rights management on the documents that are secure? And then also, on SharePoint sites that we have these documents on, they're pretty much restricted to, but if you wanted to invite somebody that was not part of that group, will it automatically send the owner request to access the site, or is that supposed to be all done up front?
So I'm going to break that question up into two. The first one was about DRM, right? You can work on a DRM file with multiple people accessing it at different times. We currently don't support working on the document at the same time when the document has IRM or DRM settings on it. It's one of the things that we sometimes hear for organizations. So I would love to learn more about the scenarios your company has and take it back, take those insights back to my team. So definitely something that we can chat about at the expo floor. On the access side, are you saying that is the ask to see some kind of notifications when somebody shares something on the SharePoint site?
The scenario is you're working on a document and you want to invite somebody to edit the document that may be in a different group. For example, let's just say you're in an architecture group and they're in the project group or the any other group that is not part of that immediate SharePoint site. So when you invite somebody to contribute to that document, do they get how is that played out? Do they have to have rights to the document itself or to the SharePoint site?
So I think they will get rights to the document when you share it with them through the specific people option.
Yeah,
and
how
I think
do they get it to SharePoint then?
You will just get it to.
So this the dialogue here is the SharePoint. We are making a call to SharePoint to enable sharing here. So this is direct. We're giving the user permission from this dialogue.
So they only see this document, not anything else in the SharePoint site?
Yep.
Okay.
I had a question about tracking or track changes in Word, for example. If you turn on, I just wanted to see when is feature parity coming for the Word Online app and the client. One big thing we have a problem with right now is if you turn on track changes on the client, there's features that are missing, in the Word Online app that you can't use. For example, you can't create links in your Word document anymore once you have that turned on. Just what's on the roadmap to get these things up to speed, the exact same?
So we have a session on Office Online where we're talking about not just track changes, but a bunch of other features, new features, functionalities that you're talking about across Word, Excel, PowerPoint Online. And I think that's a great place for updates on where we are with some of the things that you're talking about, specifically. We can follow up on specific features that you can have with our team and see if there's a concrete timeline in place that we can share with you.
If you want to hang on after the session, we can talk.
Hi,
Else?
I work for a finance company and we've got distributed offices and distributed file servers. We replicate content using DFSR. Is there any plans to enable the file sharing option with DFSR, or are we looking to have to move that content into SharePoint?
I think the experience that you saw is for SharePoint and OneDrive documents only, just because we use a lot of their functionality to bring the right permissions and settings into play. I can definitely follow up on what is the level of support that we have for files like the ones that you mentioned, or the replicated, and share that with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much.